Reesa Teesa.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's literally all I wrote is Reesa Teesa. So I mean, at this point, everybody should be aware of like probably what's considered one of the most popular story times on social media and on TikTok to date. I
Yeah,
would say for sure, right?
in history. Yep.
And literally in history at this point, like everybody was talking about it, and it's crazy to me because like I didn't think it was gonna blow up as big as it did. I forgot honestly how I was first introduced to it. I think I just kept seeing you on Twitter and TikTok on my For You page. And I was like, let me see what this is all about. And when I first watched the whole, like I did watch all 50 parts for everybody. Like I know it seems like I have no life. And I kind of hate like people say that. They're like, how would you guys sit there and listen to a whole 50-part story? Like how you not invested? And I get that. But people need to understand context. Not all of us, first of all, nobody should be sitting there glued and watching the whole time like this. I feel that's a little much. For people who this might sound crazy to some people. Some of us work from home. And some of us, even when we're in the office, are allowed to have our headphones in. So there's a thing called listening with your headphones while you're working. Like you're working. What else are you gonna be doing at work, right? Like you listening to music, you listen to a
Probably
podcast.
working like me.
Yeah, but
I'm a hard-working
you
gentleman.
listen to
I
podcasts
don't
when
get
I
to
work.
listen
Okay.
to anything.
No, for real. Like that's the thing. Like I mean, sometimes it's hard for me to listen to things at work because I'm an accountant and like I need to actually analyze numbers and like figure out variances. And like, you know, sometimes it's hard to multitask when you're doing a job that's like so critical and you can't make a mistake. But this might sound profound, but people work from home. So no, I'm not sitting there glued caring about this woman's life that much, right? Like I was like, let me see what the hype's about. It was a good story. I listened to it. I was working and I just scrolled and let it. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I listened to this actually. Oh no, it was like Sunday, Monday, yeah. But anyway, I do see both sides though. 'Cause it is kind of weird to be invested in somebody's life. I get that, but it was just interesting story. Like it's no different than watching reality TV shows. Baddies, these girls will watch baddies and watch women fight every weekend.
Instead of being offended, how about we break down what
Anyway,
exactly was
yeah,
the video?
okay.
Thank you.
So if anybody who doesn't already know, because he should.
You fighting shadows over here.
No, I'm not.
Shadow boxing.
This woman, her name, I don't know her real name, but I mean
Her name is Reesa Teesa.
I don't know if that's her real
That's her
name.
government
You think her
name.
name's Reesa?
Reesa Teesa.
I don't know what her name is actually.
Big Reesa Teesa.
But she created a series on TikTok, a 50-part. Well, it was 50 plus parts because it was like intermissions.
Docu-series.
Yeah. It was called Why or Who the F Did I Marry? So it was just her basically talking about who she, like questioning like who would I marry and explaining all the crazy things that this man put her through. And you know, how she was just like bamboozled almost and was led astray, I would say, by a relationship that turned into a marriage, and the guy ended up being like this pathological liar and just like very toxic. And so then she sat and gave us a 50-part series on it, which I thought was very interesting. For one, because like I feel like it could have been less than 50 parts. I feel like she could have cut down a lot. There's a lot of fluff. I feel like she could have cut it down. She could have talked faster. She talked very slow, which is fine, right? I appreciate slow talking, clear. Like she speaks very well. I would say like good vocabulary. Speaks very like you could tell she's educated or just as well spoken, which I like that.
That's exactly how a certain ethnic group describes black people
What do you mean?
when they just speak like normal.
No, like she's very well spoken. There's a thing. There's a such thing as called not being well spoken. Any race could not be well spoken. Like you could tell she speaks very clearly. Like she would be a great public speaker. Not everybody has that skill. Like I don't think I have that skill. I think I'm educated, but I don't think I'm a great speaker. But that's something I want to work on. But good little story, right? I feel like there was a lot of fluff. But like we just said, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, story time ever in the history of social media and TikTok. But you know me, I'm gonna have my gripes and I'm gonna have my shit talk that I always gotta have about everything. But you didn't watch it, right?
No.
But you kind of are aware. Like I kind of gave you like the synopsis. Like you kind of know basically the gist.
He was just a scammer. It was a 50-part series about him just scamming and all the different instances of him scamming. Basically.
So basically, essentially, for anybody who didn't watch it, a quick summary. There's this woman. I'm not sure her age. I'm assuming she was like late 20s, maybe 30s already. And I know for a fact she's probably in her 30s now. But when this all happened was during COVID, right before COVID happened, so like March 2020. she felt like it's my turn to get married. Like, you know, you're seeing a lot of your peers, your friends finally get married and like have their families. And I feel like a lot of women get to that point with their late 20s, and we're starting to see it because we're 27, right? So we're starting to see it amongst our peers who are unmarried, single right now, right? There's like this mad rush, this scramble to compete almost with others, or just want it to be your turn to have your family, have your kids. Women, our biological clocks are ticking, so that's like a thing that's lingering in the head, like, oh, I gotta have my kids, I gotta have my family, you know? So basically that's what she was going through. On the dating apps, like a lot of people are. Met this man. She went to the first date, her tire popped. So the date was like, she was devastated, like, dang, can't go on a date. She called him, he came to the rescue, he came to the tire place, brought her to the tire place, paid for her tire, and then they still went to Cheesecake Factory for their date. Had a good date. And then she did that, you know, they got into the car and he played like I think I found like some song with the lyrics like I'm gonna marry this woman, or I think this one, you know, this is gonna be my wife. Some John Legend song, I don't know. But so she was hooked off of that. She, you know, we live in a day and age, right, where women are money hungry. So that's the first probably green flag for her. Oh, he paid for the tire. Oh, that's a man. He bought my tire. Oh, and then he's smooth with it. He played the music, and I could get it, right? Cause a lot of people have a fairy tale esque.
Stop it.
I know I'm not gonna be too critical. I'm sorry.
Cut it out.
No, but admittedly, a lot of people. The tires are expensive, and that's a great gesture that he did. But admittedly, a lot of people have a fairy tale esque way of love, so they like that's why people can easily manipulate because they set the scenery. I'm about to go to tire. I'm gonna play the music. That's I found the woman I'm gonna marry. Like, you know, he knew how to play. And I feel like sometimes people fall for it. And I'm not blaming the woman for it because it is messed up and manipulated by the man to like kind of set it up like and make it seem fairy tale-ish, you know. But also I feel like people gotta like realize that we're humans and not everything is a fairy tale. Like that's just not how life is, in my opinion. Like not like love. Love feels great when it's real love and when it's not emulation of what you see in a movie. Because a movie is entertainment. It's not meant to be real life. And I feel like the type of stuff we see in movies could still be real life, but I feel like a lot of people put on a very like performative thing. You would agree, right? I feel like love is easy. Love is like effortless. It's like, and not effortless in the sense like, you know, you still put effort in like buying gifts and planning dates, but it's like it feels natural. It doesn't feel like you're trying to put on airs and do like the whole like, oh, there was butterflies in the sky. Oh, you know, and maybe that's just my perspective, right? There's 8 billion people in this world with different perspectives.
You feel butterflies in the sky when I asked you to be my girlfriend?
Oh, no, I did feel butterflies, but I think people have like
when you first saw me, though,
Crazy Rich Asians perspective on love and like.
But when you first saw me, you didn't see like butterflies and rainbows and unicorns flying around.
I didn't see that flying around.
You didn't see that, no.
I felt fluttered and I felt excitement and I felt like, oh, like I love love. But that's why I felt that because it felt genuine. It didn't feel like you were trying to emulate what you see on social media. It felt like you were just being you and I was being me, and it felt real.
I'll be so sarcastic. Let me stop.
I know. But anyway, I still have to say, she fell for the okie doke, and so she did. And there's a sense of like you're rushing, so you are kind of, everything for you feels like, yep, that's him, that's the one at a certain point. And basically after that, like he just lied, like he made it, like he, you know, lied about where he worked. He was talking on the phone with relatives, like he was lying about family members. He was saying he had siblings that didn't even exist. He was on the phone every day with people, but he probably wasn't actually on the phone. Like he's like, oh, I'm on the phone with my aunt, but he probably really wasn't even on the phone with his aunt or with anybody. He omitted the fact that he had a twin brother. He lied about his place of work, like not his place of work, but his position. He said he was a VP, and he really was like a forklift driver, apparently, He lied about having money. He lied about having like offshore accounts. He went to, he brought her to, what do you call it? Like the BMW and Audi dealership to test ride cars for her to like say he was gonna get her a car. Then he didn't, and he ended up getting her a Nissan Altima. So imagine you drive, you think you got to get an Audi on the way. He said it was about to be delivered, never got delivered because it didn't exist.
Where did this take place? Do we know?
Atlanta.
Oh yeah. I saw somebody say that he was at Atlanta Tinder swindler.
Yeah, it was like Atlanta and like the outsiding towns,
Gotcha.
So like Riverside. There's a town called Duluth. It was like Gwinnett County, I think, Clayco.
Gotcha.
County. So it was like that whole region. I'm not really aware of Atlanta, but I think a lot of rappers are from there, so I hear a lot of these counties. I know of them and I know these towns just because a lot of people come from Atlanta and talk about it. But yeah, it was like Atlanta and the Atlanta metro region. And then he brought her on house tours and was like, look at these beautiful houses. And he showed a fake slip about how he was approved for a $700,000 loan, all that stuff, right? And she was like believing it, even though it was clear lies. Like he could never fully prove that he actually had the income. None of the houses, the houses kept falling through. Whole bunch of like clear red flags. She got pregnant by him after knowing him for 2 months. He moved into her house. He had a studio apartment. She had a 3-floor townhouse, but apparently it was rented, so it wasn't even like she owned it. So just all these lies and craziness. And then she finds out he was like having sex with a prostitute, which was crazy. He was like cheating. Like she looked at his Facebook messages, a lot of like women and like him talking crazy in the DMs, like trying to hook up with other women. Just a lot of craziness. And yeah, she ended up getting divorced because she found out all the stuff about like him lying about like people dying, lying, like omitted the fact that he had 2 ex-wives, just a whole bunch of stuff that she found out. Then she divorced him. And yeah, now she's profiting off it. Oh yeah, he also lied about a trip to London and Paris, like booking a trip that was like her dream trip, and he lied about that. So in her mind, she says she felt like he maybe got off on the fact of giving you excitement and then snatching it from you. Or he could have just been, or he could just been a pathological liar who really like was trying to live out his twin brother's life, because apparently his twin brother was actually a VP at a company and like doing well. So it kind of has that element of psychological competitiveness that sometimes exists between siblings, and you feeling like you want to be your sibling or have his life, especially as a twin. Like he looks like you and he has a whole completely different life than you. Different levels to this stuff. So clearly this man is definitely crazy. There's no doubt about it that he's a crazy man. But where we have to criticize Reesa Teesa. And let me first say she did multiple times in her series take accountability. Multiple times. So I do appreciate that. I feel like a lot of women don't take accountability, which irks me, because I feel like the most real thing you could do, if you were real B, like how these girls, I'm a real ass, maybe. If you were real, you would take accountability. Like there's nothing more realer than being real. Like, yeah, I did this. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I slack here. Yeah, I'm not great at this. I'm bad at this. I need to do better at this. I hate how women always make it seem like it's men's fault. Like everything can't be men's fault. I'm like, that's just psychological and crazy to think that. And I feel like women do have to take accountability. So I do appreciate that she took accountability multiple times, that she should have never married this man, because there was clear red flags. But I do feel like this is a critique that I have to say. I know she took accountability, but I'm still going to criticize her. Like, I don't know. Look, the mental is such a delicate thing, right? So I haven't been in that place of desperation. So I don't know what that feels like. I truly don't. And I'm blessed to not know what that feels like. But I can imagine it is probably a sad, lonely feeling. Like you're seeing so many people around you and you're like, when is it my turn? Like, how come I haven't found my person? You know? So I could sympathize with that. Whereas what's the word? Empathize, right? Empathize is something I haven't experienced. Sympathize would be if I experienced this. I could empathize with that. But I also feel like, why purposefully make a decision that's going to contribute to your own demise and more trauma in your life? Why actively create more trauma in your life? Because now you're in a worse situation than you were before. Because, yeah, like you were sad and felt like I wanted it to be my turn, but now you have all this trauma and lies and a divorce in your record. Now you have a failed marriage on your resume because you willing to get married to a man you barely even knew. That's another thing too. Because people like to rush us, right? Because we're a young couple that started dating young, and it's like, oh my God, like when people hear that we dated for 9 years, it's so crazy. Oh, 9? And you ain't got a ring? First of all, we're only 27. Second of all, why is it such a bizarre concept to actually truly get to know somebody layer by layer? Like, don't you feel like we know each other so like deeply? Like we can know what we're gonna say and how we're gonna feel about something. Like we know each other in and out, like so deeply.
Tell me what I'm thinking right now.
That you want to get food and turn this camera off and go to sleep.
Damn. We really be in sync. That shit is crazy.
I saw you
see how she did that?
I saw you open the Uber app, and I know you. I know you're tired.
I'm tired.
We didn't really sleep last night.
You know me so well. So this is.
I do.
That's what 9 years get you.
And I just feel like people like to criticize and judge that, right? But like, I could truly say, unless something happens in our marriage that's so like crazy, like infidelity or just anything, which, you know, obviously I pray and stuff like that that's happening. You never know what can happen in life. But I don't foresee a divorce because we actually know each other. Like, We know this is what we want. We have so much time to deeply think and make that decision. I feel like so many people have a perception of marriage as you meet somebody, you click, and you feel like that's your person. You get married, and then they have the perception you figure them out later. That for me doesn't make sense. You're gonna make such a serious commitment and then try to figure out the person. Like, even with this Love is Blind show, right? That's what it seems like. You meet this person and then you marry them after knowing them for fucking 4 weeks.
It's all entertainment.
I mean, I know it's a show, but some, a lot of people watch that show and they take that stuff to heart.
That's the problem.
And then they go out into the real world and perpetuate what they see on the TV show.
I don't know how true it is, but supposedly that black guy is gay.
Yeah. He's gay, and 2 of them got like girls.
Yeah, I don't even watch it.
He gave me gay vibes. I'm not gonna lie. I have a good gaydar.
Yeah, so people don't understand that all that TV stuff.
They don't, and they take that stuff to heart.
It's crazy.
And that's how they go out into the real world. They meet a man and they think, oh, I met my person after one date. I'm gonna marry this man, and I'm gonna get to learn him later. No, that's not how it works. You learn the person before.
We know people that are like that.
We do. We do. Stop. But no, that's a real thing. Like, it's just, that's like so crazy to me. Like, that seemed like a miserable marriage. Like, can you imagine all like the bumps in the road that we went through, like of actually learning each other, and all like the frustration of communication and really getting to know each other, doing that while we're already married and making that commitment? Like, isn't it so much easier to do that stuff when there's nothing tying us to each other? Like right now we live together, right? But we went through all that stuff before we even lived together. Like, we could have easily stepped away at any time. But when you're legally binded to somebody, why are you gonna get to know them then? Like, that just blows my mind. So anybody could talk shit all they want about how long we've been dating. I could promise you we won't be divorced, and I could promise you the people that are talking either will never really be in a successful, loving, real marriage, or won't be married at all. So that's all I'm gonna say. But I just feel like with this situation, like, that's crazy. You met the man in March and you were pregnant with his baby in May. Ew. First of all, like, I'm sorry, like, you didn't even know that man really, for real, and you was letting him bust in you. Like, that's crazy. But sorry, you know me, I'm a little bit off the radar, a little crazy. But it's just like, I don't know. I just want women to have more discernment, and for me, like, I feel like secondhand embarrassment by the lack of discernment, because where's the self-respect? Like I said, I can empathize with that desperation, but really search. Like, those red flags were clear. Like, I can understand some men are so much easier at hiding their red flags, and they are really master manipulators, right? Like, could really get you. Even the most smart person can't do some people's like manipulation. But this guy's red flags were so freaking clear, like, in her face. Like, she called him lying plenty of times before she even committed to the marriage, and you still decided to stay. I don't feel bad. Burn me on the stake. I don't feel bad for her at all. Burn me on the stake. But I don't, because there was too many red flags. I feel bad for a woman that truly got manipulated and bamboozled, but she didn't. The signs were clear as day, and she chose to ignore them for the sake of desperation, to say she got a husband, because everybody wants to be like, oh, I got a husband. Everybody wants to say, and we talked about this plenty of times, everybody wants to say they're married because it sounds like it gives you a personality, it gives you a purpose. Everybody wants to be like, I'm a wife, but they don't even want to truly take the role of what an actual wife is, and like actually really love a person and know a person. They just want to say they're a wife so they could show off to their friends and their coworkers that they're married. Like, it gets real deep. So the red flags were clear as day. She should have never married that man. She should have never got pregnant by that man. She should have been having protected sex until at least maybe she was married too. I mean, I'm not gonna say that because haven't been protected in the last year, right? I've got off birth control. But I know you. We've been together 9 years. Like, so if I were to get pregnant today, like, I know me and you are gonna be like this for life. So, but to get pregnant by an obvious scammer, like obvious liar, like, you thought that man was a VP. You didn't use your intelligence to look to see his LinkedIn, ask him about how his job is. Like, you had no interest in what his day to day looks like. Like, I ask you all the time. Like, we both know each other's jobs. Like, we might not understand it, right? Because you haven't done accounting, so you don't really know how it is, and I don't do your job.
Let me put you on the spot.
So we might not really understand it. But
nothing.
What you do?
No, go ahead, continue.
You are a upcoming product owner at Bloomberg. Don't know what that really is or what that means, but I know, like, when you explain it,
what's my day to day look like? What do I do when I first walk in the morning?
I don't know. You checking your inbox? No,
I make my eggs and my coffee. Wrong. But you don't know me.
There's enough support about your job. Like, you're clearly not lying. It's like, I met your coworkers. I've been out on outings with them. I've been to your freaking people's Upper East Side apartments, or was it West Side? East.
That was
Upper East Side.
East Side.
I've met the people. I've heard what they do. I've seen it. I've seen your LinkedIn, and you have connections. Like, it's a real job. I've been to your office. You signed me in. I had a temporary badge. I got to see where you sit. You didn't try to know that person well enough to know what his job is. Like, you didn't say, hey, like, so what's a day-to-day look like for you? Like, what do VPs do? Sorry, like, she was really like bubble-headed.
It's late.
She was really
bubble-headed. Yeah, that's the one.
What's the word?
Yeah, bubble-headed.
I'm not gonna do too much on her because he's the real villain. But like, come on, that was so avoidable.
You've done over 20 minutes on her.
Because it was so avoidable. I feel like people just take. People are such a huge contributors to their own demise, and it's like scary seeing it in real time. Like, I feel like people make too much excuses. Like, of course, blame. At the end of the day, he needs help. He's clearly ill. But people were saying like she was just as delusional and desperate too, because she saw this man was paying the bills. She thought, oh, I'm about to get my BMW X5 with my cold neck interior, and I'm about to go to London and Paris and look at these nice houses. I'm about to get me a house. Like, she was just as delusional as him. Like, someone said that on TikTok. I'm like, I agree. They were both delusional. He was living out his dreams that he thought, his life that he thought. Like, he was imagining in his head, and she was living out a life that she was imagining in her head. They both were delusional. And I feel like I said, she took accountability, and I'm glad she spoke out on him just for other women to avoid it. But I hope any other woman that would come across him wouldn't be that dumb. But, you know, unfortunately, people are desperate, delusional, and they attract crazy people. And then they just contribute to their own life's chaos and demise. And it's like sad because a lot of times people's, like I said, I feel a lot of people's own demise is very avoidable. I feel like people put themselves in shitty situations, and then they come out months later, years later, in her case, complaining about it. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, yeah, you could vent and you could help prevent this from happening to other women, but like, at this point, what do you want us to do? Like, you knew what situation you were putting yourself in. So it's like, it's kind of like I don't want to hear it. Like, you know, when people do something and like you warn them, they do it, and then they come back to you like, yeah, you're right, and like crying to you, like blah blah. It's like, well, what do you want me to do? You knew what you were doing in the moment, and you knew that it was bad for you. I don't want to sound heartless. I really don't, but I just do feel like you have to have, people need to practice more discernment. Like, it's really kind of hard for me. Like, I don't know. It's hard for me to feel bad for people who put themselves in those scenarios, because like, even for myself, I put myself in many bad, shitty situations. And do I feel bad for myself? No. Not taking accountability. And I'm like, yeah, that was stupid. And now you got to live with what you did. You know, I'm not going to all of a sudden be like, oh, I feel so bad. No, because in the moment you knew the bad things that you were doing were bad. And they were stupid. And now you got to live with those decisions, you know? So everybody has different perspectives on stuff. And people might think I'm heartless and like, oh, have some grace. I do, slightly. But sometimes it also is harder for me to have grace for grown people. Right? Like, I would have grace if she was 21 and did this. It was bamboozled by a man paying the bills, right? And like the tire thing. 21, impressionable, susceptible to those type of things. But as a grown, like, I think she was in her 30s, a grown woman who probably has seen things and experienced things, or heard stories, or just, you know, just know better. It's really hard for me to have grace for people, older people, making those type of decisions. Right? Like, if she told a story and she was like, I was 21 and I met this guy, he fixed my tire, he moved in with me and paid all the bills, he took care of me. Yeah, he was lying a little bit, and yeah, maybe I looked past it because I was just young and in love. I extend grace because we all were young and just stupid stuff while we were young, right? I don't think any person on this planet didn't do something stupid while they were young. After a certain age, it's hard for me to extend grace to somebody making a decision at a certain age. I don't know if you feel that same way, but.
Oh, can I finally interject after 30 minutes of you talking? No, I don't have anything to say because we're going to run out of time.
No, you have 6 minutes, but go ahead.
Yeah, no.
No, what do you have to say?
This was just a waste of time. Like,
for her?
No, just really for the viewer. Because, like, my perspective on it is just like, it was kind of like the Tinder swindler story. Like, it was funny. It was more like a comedy to me. Like, It was kind of just hilarious. This I didn't watch because I didn't care that much. But if it was in documentary form, I probably would have watched it because it would have been just like entertainment to me. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of common sense stuff. Like, uh, she ended up in this situation really because she just was trying to. She was purposefully ignoring certain flags because of what she desired. So, like, it's kind of like the person that dates the drug dealer, so they kind of ignore the murders, potential murders, and illegal activity that the drug dealer's doing just because they might be getting money and they're paying for all their stuff. It's kind of like the same concept. So if something bad happens in that scenario, then,
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, like what do you want any of us to do? So it's kind of like it was entertainment. It was, I guess, based on some of the specific stuff she was saying that I just happened to overhear, but. But yeah, I don't feel bad. I don't feel anything because it's kind of like it's unfortunate that people do this. So manipulative people, men and women, because both men and women do this to people and manipulate and do all kinds of stuff. We just don't always hear all of the stories from everyone about things that have happened to them. So to me, it wasn't also even like that crazy of a story. I don't think.
It was kind of crazy. Like going to open houses and test driving cars, and then the realtor and like involving realtors and realtors be like, they're trying to close a deal, and like because now you're putting other people's like you wasting other people's time, like realtors, like people who like this is their job, and they thinking they about to close the deal, and they just want the proof of funds, and he never sends the proof of funds.
Yeah, it's just
like it is crazy because you start messing up real people's lives.
It's kind of the Tinder swindler and and the other one.
The Anna,
yeah,
whatever her name
it's
is.
kind of like the same thing. I don't know. Yeah, like I don't feel bad. Like unfortunately, it was too obvious. If somebody got scammed in a different way, then maybe I might feel bad, and even then, that's kind of like I don't know. But yeah, it's her fault, and I think that the whole series was a waste of time, and she should have just approached Netflix with the.
She should have.
And she still can, but she should have just approached them with the story.
I mean, she's profiting off it now. Like BMW apparently is about to give her the car. She's going to London and Paris now. Like I think somebody's paying for the trip.
Yeah, and she got
2.6 million followers. I mean, last time I checked, it might be 3 at this point.
Yeah, shout out to her. So sometimes being ignorant to the obvious pays off.
Yeah, like now her life might be fruitful.
Now she might
temporarily.
Now I might never make more money than her ever in my life.
No, for real. Like if
it's
she
a
twists
real
this the right
possibility.
way, if she turns this the right way, she could like really get money.
We gonna get the Reesa Teesa TV show for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure she's gonna be on. Oh my god, she's probably definitely gonna be on like some.
Oh, they gotta put
this week. Probably gonna be on like TV shows like
talk shows don't exist anymore.
Talk show. They kind of do.
What exists? Because
what's the name?
Wendy's
the one
gone.
from,
Ellen's gone.
What's the name? Jennifer Hudson has one. She might get on that. She might get on Good Morning America.
Yeah,
that's it. Those are two I could think of. It would be daytime. She wouldn't be on nighttime TV. Daytime TV for sure. So Good Morning America or Jennifer Hudson's show. But yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Was just a waste of everybody's time. Yeah. 50-part series that probably was a total of like 10 hours.
8 hours.
8 hours. I was about to say 10. Just off of
people fast forwarded it and they were able to hear it in 4 hours, but it was like 8 hours, 8 to 9 hours, which is insane.
Shout out to her. Get a bag, and that's my super analytical breakdown.
At least she turned it into a money. That's all I can say. But she's still dumb, and I just hope women and men practice discernment. Nobody's perfect, but when the signs are obvious, like, come on, do better. You too grown at your big age to make certain decisions. Sorry. Kill me, but that's how I feel.